Hey guys, Zayden here for Smite with a quick disclaimer for these Smite Combine videos. If you're looking for your typical weekend, happy-go-lucky, competitive, hyped-up caster tournaments, these matches and games might not be for you. The Smite Combine is intended to help players find teams and teams find players going into Season 2 for Smite. There's going to be a ton of analysis, and you can probably learn quite a few things by watching these videos, but they might not be the most exciting things to watch. Either way, guys, here they are. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the first ever Smite Combine. This is where we were going to take some notable ranked players, those players that are platinum and above, and kind of put them in a Tier Monster S tournament where they're teamed up randomly and they get to showcase their skills. Maybe they're looking for a team for the SPL or Challengers Cup, and this is to get them introduced into the competitive scene. So we're going to have a lot of unknown players here today, and also we're going to have some returning stars. I know some SPL players are going to be here. Nantan of Thirst will be playing in this tournament today, and I'm Adonis, and I will be joined by Peckies and Hindu Man. How are you guys doing today?
You know, I'm doing pretty great. I'm really excited to see what some of these newer players could bring to the scene. It's going to be interesting to see what they really can do. And, you know, I'm fantastic, and I can't wait to get started. Hindu, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, I've been looking forward to this for quite a while now. We've heard about it for some time, and now that we're going to be able to see this, it'll be interesting to see how it's all going to go down. So what you should be seeing on your screen right now, guys, I'm going to talk you through a little bit. We're going to be taking highlights from each of these games. The scouts are watching them in detail to go over the best bits for us to really bring to your screen and showcase these sort of players involved. So what we'll do is we'll pause it just before the plays are about to be made that we're going to watch, and what we'll actually do is just discuss the situation they're in right now. So Adonis, talk us through the start of this. What's the gold experience like right now?
So we're going to take a look at this game, and the player we're going to be highlighting for this is going to be Abi. Immediately, we're going to have red team in a bad spot, and this is going to actually be a Gold Fury play coming out from Abi. So if you take a look at the experience difference, it's already 8K in the lead, 4K gold at 11 minutes. But Abi here is going to do some fantastic positioning in this Gold Fury fight to turn it around.
Well, when we look at the Gold Fury pit right now, there is a ward down for either side of this one as well. The positions of the team kind of all equal at the moment. We can see the Giannis ult has just been used going through the jungle. Oh, sorry, I'm lying. The Giannis ult is still available. But it looks like it's going to be the blue team that are going to be the ones to position for the fight. There is a ward from red team here. It's going to get cleared out by Ymir, as Giannis actually goes for the pull on it to help Ymir clear. And we'll see how this one plays out.
Yeah, you know, it looks like this was kind of called. They saw the positioning that, you know, they could look for this opportunity. Rom was actually looking to back early. And, you know, they're not really sure what they want to do here. They want to force the fight, but at the same time, they were pulling the objective.
Well, Blue's trying to make a big play. They're trying to get a pick to start this Gold Fury off. They've zoned them out for the most part, but now the rotation's coming in as well from Hercules and Osiris, and here we go. We can see the blue team doing it, but keep your eyes on Obi. He's the one important.
Yeah, the red team's actually going to be able to steal it with Athena. No one zoned out the Athena, and Abi came in with a perfect ult. This is just actually a really good play from red. All of blue were grouped up, and they had it stolen. They didn't know exactly what to do. You saw half the team fight, half the team back up, and I think Abi here his positioning was spectacular this entire fight.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like he did much, but if you think about it, that I'm a Monster hit multiple people in that fight, allowing his team to collapse on the target and then clean up that fight from there with the Hercules rotation.
Yeah, and you know, you saw blue team that it seemed like their communication kind of died. I mean, we can roll back this play and run it in slow motion. So right here you see no one's zoning out the Athena. The Giannis is actually trying to, and he can't really do much in this situation at all. The Athena's just going to dash in. The Ymir actually tries to freeze instead of getting the hog off. And then you see Abi there hit 3 people with I'm a Monster and then immediately blow up Thor with Crush because he went in, but the rest of the team weren't really in a position to keep on fighting.
And because of that crushing the damage, it zoned them all into a group for Apollo to come in as well. It was a really nice play from the whole of the red team as a whole there, and you can see the golden experience dip back in their favor now, making this much more even game.
Yeah, you know, not only did that give them the gold, it gave them an opportunity to get a little bit more farm around the map because, you know, it gave them that control that they needed to safely farm after being behind so much in the early game.
I kind of want to see what they're going to do here before we go on to the next play because they did just win a big team fight. I want to see if they're going to take advantage of it, push anything, or look to steal. Yeah, they definitely need to look at these mid camps here, and it does seem like Osiris is going to spot it out. Mid lane, they're going to put a little pressure onto the Giannis. I don't think they have the timers on them, though. Because I think
Well,
they'd already be in position for the left camps.
They're getting right ones right now. They're not getting lefts. I mean, the one interesting thing about that whole play as well, I know the focus was on Scylla from the scout that mentioned this play, but I feel Athena did a lot in that fight.
For sure.
She came in, she hogged the Gold Fury when she was required to, secured it for a team, and then the taunt follow-up allowed Scylla and the rest of the team to start cleaning up. So multiple players in this team played very, very well in that fight.
Yeah. And then we're going to have a Fire Giant fight here at the 27-minute mark that we're going to fast forward to here real quick.
Well, we'll see how that one's going down, because at the moment I'm just going to keep an eye as we fast forward on the Golden Experience just to see how this one's going. Who's the play for at the Fire Giant?
It looks like the scouts took a look at the Guardian, so we're going to see this Ymir come out, and I guess Narian, the solo lane Hercules, did very well as well in this fight.
Okay, well I mean, the Ymir in the start of that Gold Fury play that we saw a few minutes ago, he did try and get some pressure on and got a great double wall off, so I'm going to expect him to do a wall. We'll see how that goes. I expect the walls will be the big things to watch out for.
This is actually here's a fight we can take a look at real quick.
Yeah, if you want to roll that back, what we actually saw there was the red team being very aggressive on this duo lane, and they were able to push down that tier 1 tower. But meanwhile, in the solo lane, Narian just sat there and sort of split pushed, earning his team, more map control on that Fire Giant side, and really is going to make it harder to deal with as we get later into the game.
Very surprising that Narian managed to zone off 4 people. They really should have committed to fighting that 2v4 situation, because Scylla had already taken the tier 2 on right, and they needed to for making it even.
So we see the Athena. Look, this is a really smart job from the blue team. They're committing a lot to killing the Athena here. Oh, it actually looks like they turned around and killed the Osiris, but they want to try and pick off this Athena so they can get an uncontested Fire Giant. You see the Thor lane perfectly down there.
Yeah, Thor did a lot of work with that one, in all fairness. He does go down as a casualty of war. You may survive, but for how long?
Yeah, so both the supports are down, so neither team's really going to be able to go for Gold Fury, and Abi, once again, dashing in. It seems this player is really fearless, and Kret is the one who actually scouted out this team, and it appears that Abi was making all the shot calls for the team. He suggested Abi could be a very good shot caller in the future.
And that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize about team play as well when you think about it, Dennis. When you're talking about shot calling, you need a shot caller on a team, otherwise the team doesn't function as a whole. You need somebody who's going to take charge, take lead. And when you watch these games, when we broadcast them from a spectator standpoint, we don't get to hear the shot callers and listen to the people that lead these teams to victory.
Yeah, maybe after this game we'll be able to get Kret in here and he can talk about how well Abi did in the shot caller perspective. So we're just going to fast forward here. It looks like the game did even out. Blue team's still going to retain their lead. I think they were just out farming early, and I think they just kept that lead. But once that Gold Fury at 12 minutes happened, the team's kind of stalemated for a while.
Oh, we're just waiting around for this to get through to. I'm just looking through itemization, see if there's anything unusual or unsuspecting. But looks like the Fire Giant's been started by Blue. And a reset once again.
Yeah, neither of these teams can do this right now. They're too low. Great Age is coming out from Go, is going to be able to immune a lot of that damage, and then the Thor unfortunately got picked off by the Apollo ult. I think they just do the dance around for a while.
A long dance though, this, and there's a lot of experience in the map that's being wasted by both teams, really. Looks like Ziggy's going to go down as well there for that one. It's a lot of backwards and forwards.
Red team's finding a lot of picks, but they're just too low, and they don't have the control to really go for the objectives after they pick up these kills.
I think that's a difference in the experience in gold as well, because I feel when the blue team do manage to get the advantage, they're actually getting something off it, and we're not seeing that out of red team.
Yep. We do see that Apollo tried to sneak that Gold Fury there, wasn't really able to get it, didn't have the ward coverage to, deny the vision of them doing that there. So we're getting close to the 27-minute mark. We're going to see another dance around Fire Giant come out, and this is really going to determine the game. This will start the snowball effect for one of these teams here. This
is the play we were talked about, that we need to take a look at Narian and that solo lane Hercules and the support, Robberg on the Guardian Ymir. Yeah.
Can we do it in slow then for now?
Yeah,
let's
take a look at it slow. It's supposed to be happening here within the next 5 to 10 seconds. So we're going to take a look at Narian. He looks like he's in a good position to zone out or pick someone who gets out of position. If you take a look at his build, he's incredibly tanky, as Smithies and Bulwark online. So he's going to be a very good front line in this fight.
Something to note too is he has that Jotuns and the boots. That's going to give him a lot of damage against the carries, the Nemesis, the Apollo, the Scylla. And, you know, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage to the back line.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
But what he's doing, he's zoning the entire team out.
Right.
You need someone to zone when you're attempting the Fire Giant. Even just to clear it, you want someone on zone duty. Hercules is recognizes that's his duty in this game. So he's allowing Ymir to get in here with the Rama as well. And now Ymir's going to be able to pick Athena, who has to come in.
Are we going to see the wall come out and really put this Athena in an awkward
Yeah,
position?
perfect. Oh, he caught the
wall.
dash too.
Great wall.
He can't go anywhere. He's a little bit worried about overcommitting because he doesn't
He's
know
dead.
where everyone is. But then the Hercules going to come in. Oh, yeah. The Athena just got picked there. That's really unfortunate. The Ymir did a great job of recognizing that no one was really
There
in
comes
position to
Giannis.
contest. And that's going to look for... that means they're going to have a good free Fire Giant here.
Yeah, it
Well-
doesn't look like they're going to go for it. It looks like they're going to try to force this fight 4v5 and really try to zone them out here.
No, they're going to back off. I expect to see Hercules stay on zoning duty and the rest of the team to commit to the Fire Giant here. This is what they'd started with. And it's looking like he's going to pay off again. They still want to try and find another pick.
Yeah, another pick comes through. They got the Osiris. A lot of CC comes out.
Oh, the
That-
boulder
Osiris
bounces
just-
That
back.
boulder. That boulder.
Yeah, he just got eliminated. That was a good job from them. They basically took away the other front line that red team had, and I'm not really sure what this Giannis is looking for. I guess a pick. He needs to be incredibly careful though, because he is out of position compared
Oh,
to
he's
the
going
rest
to
of his
portal
team.
in. He just portaled in. He's going to be looking to get aggressive here. He's got Nemesis in the back. He might be trying to pull some attention away from Fire Giant, but I'm really not
Yeah,
sure why at
that's
this point.
that's not the smartest move here. We're gonna take a look at Abi and see if he's gonna be able to turn around, because it's really on him, because you need that ultimate, that I'm a monster to come through. Narian misses, but the team
Good
does
wall,
a
good
great
wall.
job of immediately going in. The Nemesis dashed in pretty early, but the lava pit came out just in time.
And note too, Nemesis only has Hog 2 available to her. The Athena ult will crash. It looks like she hit the wrong target though, not really able to get into the Fire Giant.
That's unfortunate.
to try to steal, but the support was able to pick up the Fire Giant for his team while at the same time dying.
Yeah, that was actually incredibly smart. I don't know who called that. I'm assuming it was Abi. So the Nemesis dashed in and used Divine Judgment on Ymir immediately, and you saw the I'm a monster come over the wall. So that was great planning from the blue team there. What they wanted to do was kill the Ymir before the Fire Giant got low enough to hog. That way they can contest it with damage and not have to worry about out-hogging anyone.
Yeah.
I feel communication from the blue team is not as strong as it could be. They understand what they're supposed to be doing. Giannis feels like he should be zoning, so does Hercules. Giannis went chasing instead of zoning though. He looked to try and find a kill instead of just zoning. That meant Narian had to also leave to go zone because Giannis wasn't in the correct position for it. And then the Fire Giant was a bit of a mess, to be fair. They could have all lived with that if just left Hercules zoning.
Yeah, you know, with this Fire Giant, they're going to be able to wipe out all these towers and look to start to push the Gold Fury as well as these Phoenixes, and it's really going to be hard for Red Team to try to defend against a Fire Giant push here.
Well, as it stands on the game now, it's 30 minutes in. Do we have any more replays from this game to go over, really? I mean,
not this game. We can take a look. So let's take a look at the itemization and how we feel each of these players did in that regards. So we're gonna see the I guess the Zappicorn build coming out from Rom there. It's a tank shredder basically, and it does very well against Nemesises who typically build front line. They have an Osiris and an Athena, so that build's gonna work very well against their frontline S team on red.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Take into account, guys, everyone watching at home. This is a combine. They don't know each other, these players, for the most part. If you get someone that you know, you're very lucky. Most of this is going to be done on the spur of the moment. You're going to meet people and have to work out their play style as well as play to your own strengths as well. So talking about blue teams, like lack of communication is one thing because it's true. They do. But that's probably because they're new players. But it doesn't mean they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing themselves.
Right. So something to take note on is golden hand for these players. Some of the blue team has not backed yet, such as Yanis. This means he doesn't have that full potential of damage that they have earned from all these fights. We're gonna see one fight come out by the Gold Fury. Yanis is gonna be forced out kind of early. Didn't really get to get too much of his damage off, and he's gonna be forced to ult to try to.
That freeze was
get back
huge.
in.
Yeah. This is a really good engage by Red. I don't think they're going to come out with it because they weren't able, like, people just survived just a little bit too long for them to win that fight. But the I'm a Monster was really well placed. A good crush forced Giannis's Aegis early, but he was still able to escape.
Those
This
portals,
game
man.
went backwards and forwards. I mean, I'd like to get credit just to hear what he said about Obi's comms, because if he's been shot calling this, Red Team did. I felt like Red Team were a team, and Blue Team felt more like individuals that played very, very well by the looks of how this game's gone.
Yeah.
So the communications from Obi, we'll see how they pay off. I mean, Athena and Scylla for me are the two that are coming out of Red Team that are showing me what's going on. Nemesis' decision making has been very good as well in terms of, like we said, the Divine Judgment onto Ymir. And Ymir and Hercules are standing at the forefront for me as well right now.
Yeah, so you see Blue Team here did a great job. They took the two Phoenixes. They felt like they couldn't really push any further, so they're going to back off and just clear the map. And they're going to spin that golden hand that Pecky's was talking about. You see the Ymir has 2,500, the Rom 2,300, and the Thor almost 2K. So they've done a great job of clearing out the map. They have wards in really good positions as well. So they have some deep wards here covering aspects of if Red Team pushes out, they're going to know where they are. So if Red Team tries to check some of their buffs, they need to be careful about potentially getting picked, because another thing to note too is that Hercules does have his shielded teleport online. In addition to they have the Janus ult. So what Blue Team should be doing here is looking for a pick.
Well, I'm just looking at player damage as well out of interest, because the one thing about player damage, sometimes the unnoticed member of the team is the one that's carrying it because he's just doing his job silently as usual. And Rom is really high up there for Blue Team right now, 2,700. He's the highest on his team by a considerable margin as well, in fairness, especially when he's got the likes of Giannis on his team with that heavy AoE burst damage that he does have with the Unstable Vortex. So Rom must be playing this one pretty well, in fairness. Like you said, he has the Zappy build online, and it seems to be working well for him.
All right, Hindu. So we happen to have Kret. We're going to go ahead and ask him a little bit about what's going on here.
Kret, are you alive, sir?
Kret, you are on the line. So give us a
Welcome.
rundown of this.
All right, so we basically only have one game to look at, one match, and you know we want to find the best players with the most potential on both teams. Obviously, you're going to find people with really good mechanics, right? Like, they hit every Scylla ult. But we haven't seen the breadth of their god pool. You have one pick. So what I'm looking at, I think the most impactful thing and the most... just the thing that you can go forward with, right? That you can draw the most conclusions out of is communication.
I could completely agree with that. It's one of those things that you can't really commentate on as a caster for the most part when it comes to it, but communication is very important to these games. And I'm guessing, like, Obi was, like, shot caller for this team?
Yeah, Abi was the guy, so his team lost, right? Like, the game just wasn't really going well for them, but Abi was problem solving. He was like, okay, well, you got picked there because you're going for this ward, and that was a mistake, and the others were like, yeah, it was, you know. So... I don't want to say shot calling, because I think he needs growth.
Okay.
But he seemed like he had the right attitude to become a shot caller.
As a question about that, with regarding his negativity, did he, like, not necessarily negativity, but as the games go on, generally as a shot caller, as somebody who's talking a lot, if the game's going badly, your calls generally, you go quieter on the mic, you know? You don't speak as much. Did he stay positive throughout?
Yes and no.
Okay.
He had a foible that I think a lot of budding shot callers have, which is not communicating as much during an actual fight. You know, not saying like, so beforehand he'll say, hey, if you taunt, I'll use my Scylla ult, and he'll create a plan, and that's really good. Not enough people do that. And then he gets in the fight and he talks a lot less. You know, I mean, like.
We saw the Athena combination at that Golf Fury in the early stages as well, Kret. And with that Athena taunt that came out, it felt like Athena was listening to commands very well as well, which is one thing of a team that you generally need as well, is someone that doesn't necessarily have to do the shot calling or the talking, but the one that can also follow instruction. And that's very important to a team as well. I felt looking at the outskirts of that game, Athena seemed to play very, very well as well.
Yeah, I mean, Athena was very quiet, and a little bit more quiet than is standard in the support role in competitive play. But that can work if you have the right people. And the Athena player definitely, like, did have a very good attitude, which is really important. Yeah, like honestly, looking at that team, I think every player could play on a challenger team and do well. I think Abi would be most likely to grow into a high-level shot caller, but that doesn't mean that Jordan Maines, for example, couldn't become the next Batman, right? It's just that's sort of a different skill set, is
Oh, of
polishing
course.
mechanics, and that's a grind too.
Yeah, I mean, I was just basically just out of interest to see how that team played out because obviously on the losing side of things, normally shot calling is one of the things that seems to go by the wayside. You saying that he could be potentially very, very good is fantastic for the future as well. So that'll be a good one. So Scylla did all right that game. I saw Hercules look very, very strong. Ymir too. Rama came out with top damage in that game. So Ziggy Dog didn't do too bad for himself on that side of things as well. And I think that's the end of that game. Is that correct, Adonis? Or am I wrong?
No,
We're
that's
going
going to be
into
the end of
next
that
one
game.
now.
We're going to go to a quick break while we get
They're
the
all
next
quiet there.
game.
Craig, is there anything else you want to add
Oh, yes.
from what you saw that maybe we've not gone over yet that you would like to?
Oh yeah, I want to give a shout out to Rayberg, the Ymir player, who
Oh yeah.
communicated on the same level as Abi. I spent more time listening to the red team. But Rayberg was very good about talking about things ahead of time. Once again, had a little bit of trouble communicating team fights, and I think that's really one of the hardest skills to learn because you just shut up and you try and hit your abilities, right?
Yeah.
But no, he was really good, and more so than Abi, I think is ready to be put on a team. Like Abi just had really strong potential, but it's hard to get too much out of a loss and really understand how well a player can do. Rayberg, yeah, like sign him up. He's really good.
Okay, well there you heard it from the man himself about who spectated that game, one of the scouts for that. We'll be going to the next game shortly, guys. We're just getting that one set up right now. Cret, thank you for joining us. I guess we might be hearing from you later on if you're going to be scouting some more games for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I'll
I love you.
see you guys later. Love you too.
Yeah, we do have the next game ready to play here, and we're going to bring it up on screen. Let's take a look at the players we were told to watch, first of all. And last time we did go through some of the replays. This time we're going to go through the whole game. It seems the solo lane Bakasura named Well Played did very well. The jungle Nemesis Bursto did very well. So those are the two that we're going to be paying attention to in this match.
I'm just trying to get myself into the game. I seem to be having a few issues with spectating on this match for some unknown reason. You've given me the number, but it's not coming up. I don't know why.
Use the secondary number that I said afterwards.
So taking a look right off the gate, you know, we're gonna see these players walking out to lane. They're grouped as 5. They might be looking for a pick here in the early game. The blue team doesn't really get anything, and you know, red team was able to get the ward down. So you know, we still have them staying grouped on the left side. There's 5 players from the blue team. They're not really sure what's going on here. Agni's on the left. He should be going to those right mid camps, looking to get that for his team.
Yeah, we have some very basic ward coverage coming out. I'm actually a little surprised that this red ward got placed. Typically, you don't see that because how the meta start is that support's going to be there anyway. You don't really need a defensive ward if you're planning on starting there. So we need to look out for red team. They may be looking to do a new start or a different start.
You know, I think that comes out of that ward that they put at the bottom side of the left Harpies. They saw Agni was running the left lane. Maybe they thought they were still going to try to invade. So they just put down that defensive ward there.
Well, just to be clear, there's picks and bans that go on in this as well, but everybody should realistically be playing the roles that they're suited to, and they're also playing the gods that are their strongest as well, or at least one of their strongest. They're not necessarily going to be able to do it. They're not going to be able to necessarily get their best god. Maybe it's Osiris and he was banned, you're just not sure for certain. So all these gods they should be confident on. That's what I'd be playing if I was trying to show myself off in Combine.
Yeah, that is very true. We do see a lot of high priority picks coming out in this game. We see the Athena, the Sylvanas, the Apollo, the Thor, Osiris, Nemesis even, all coming out into this game. So you'd think that a lot of these players are playing some of their top gods.
Yeah, early in this duo lane, or excuse me, the solo duo, I'd have to give the advantage to Thor Osiris, but right now they're being pushed back a little bit. They came to lane a little late. Considering both have hogs. I kind of figured they would have been here earlier, but they do have the clear advantage here. Nemesis is going to use the hog, and actually we're going to see Thor in a bad spot. That's actually really well played by Nemesis, saving her hog there, and then using it to get advantage in that lane, and then forcing Thor out. Now she's going to get pretty free roam on here, and if there's a fight in mid, Thor's going to be able to not be able to fight, and Nemesis should be able to be strong.
You know, a pretty interesting start coming out from Baka. Sorry to cut you off there, Hindu, but he picks up Smithy's hammer. You don't normally see that too much out of a Baka. Usually they rush that damage, but he's looking to survive the damage that Osiris could put out while still dealing that true damage from his Butcher Blades.
But is Smithy's hammer really that viable on Bakasor as well as it could be? That's the question, I guess. I mean, I understand the benefits of it against an Osiris, but if you build damage against an Osiris, Witchblade, much more effective.
I don't think he's going to be able to kill the Osiris even if he builds damage, and I think that's kind of the mentality he's going to go through. He's not going to have that strong pressure that you normally have as Bakasura, so he's going to go tanky, focus on farming, and then look for that strength late game. Might have spoke too soon. He actually got that Osiris really low. The true damage this early on is pretty devastating.
It is like a 5-5 lane. You'll hear people say that quite a lot. Generally, it's out of 10 and which lane it goes in favour of. But Baka versus Osiris will go backwards and forwards, I feel, based off who goes back to base and gets items and who doesn't. So just keep an eye on that lane all the time because I think it will go backwards and forwards.
Now, something to take a look at here is the mid lane. We're getting close to these mid-camp timers. They're going to be coming up soon. We see both junglers sitting in the mid lane, and it's going to be interesting to see how these players rotate and what they elect to do.
Yeah, you see him rotating to this dual lane right now, and either a late call or their dual lane just was not paying attention. That Thor hit 5, and the dual lane should have realized that. You always need to be paying attention to that, and it looks like this Sylvanas is going to die for first blood there.
Oh, he's down, but they might be able to turn something around
great
from that
Agni
Agony. The group up was too much coming out from that team. With Agony coming in too, that's a turnaround. The good leap from Anher.
So what we saw right there is we saw the Thor hit 5 incredibly early, right? It was before mid-camp spawn, you know, he was ready to fight. He went up into the air by Gold Fury, came down on duo lane, but the blue team was ready to react to that, and they rotated, and they counter-ganked, and they came out on top.
Yeah, they definitely should have killed that Sylvanas earlier. I'm surprised it took them that long. I didn't notice if they missed any skill shots, but that Sylvanas definitely should have fallen earlier, and they should have been able to back off there.
They should have backed off. I think that's the key thing. I think that was greed more than anything else from Red Team. They got the pick they wanted. They got first blood, and then stuck around looking for more. And by doing that, they grouped up looking for the Anher, and it ended up paying with 3 lives.
Yeah. So now the Nemesis sitting 2 levels above, well, excuse me, 1 now, the Thor, and that itself is tremendous. That is very important for a Nemesis to get ahead of a Thor. She can now effectively trade with him. She could use the shield to avoid most of his damage. And it's going to be really hard for this Thor to come back into the game.
Yeah, early on, there's 2 important things. There's one, you want to out-farm the enemy jungler. Not necessarily in gold, but you want to be a higher level. You want to get faster gold until you finish pin boots. And then there's kind of this gap where your job is to make sure you have more experience, that you're at least equal or higher level in the jungle. And right now, the Nemesis is doing a great job of that.
I think that's going to be the key now for Red Team. They need to ward to make sure they can keep an eye on Nemesis, and Thor needs to either go for counter ganks when Nemesis goes for them, or look to go for ganks when Nemesis is on the other side of the jungle, so she can't interfere and allow himself a bit of an opportunity to catch back up.
Right. I think a key gank in this game is going to be this mid lane Ra for the Nemesis. With that ultimate, it's really easy to pick up a kill on somebody with very low mobility, such as Ra. Yes, he has increased movement speed, but Nemesis could slow and slow and slow, and she has a setup from that Agni to really lay down the damage.
I feel the same way, but I feel like Thor is going to be... Thor needs to kill the Agni, and the Nemesis needs to kill the Ra. I think the mid lane is probably the key lane here. The Osiris is going to be pretty hard to gank, and the Baka as well. It's generally hard to gank solo lane. These players are generally very aware and have heavy warding.
Especially with the defensive build we see coming out from Bakasor. It's going to be very hard to kill him with his self-heal that actually heals quite a bit, and he has, you know, a leap to help him out in tough times.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you rotate to solo lane, you're giving the Gold Fury opportunity to the enemy team if the other jungler doesn't rotate. That's why you don't see that too many rotations over to, you know, solo, unless there's definitely a potential for a kill.
Right.
High potential at that.
Now, look at this contention for the red buff here coming out from the blue team. We do see a 4-man rotation coming out onto the red buff, and Apollo isn't really in position. Yes, he has a global ult, but he needs to get here soon.
Athena has ult, though. Athena does have ult.
Yep.
So she should be able to get into this fight. She's choosing Ra, though. Probably
This
the wrong
Nemesis is
decision.
going pretty deep. She needs to be careful, make sure, yep. So she should be able to just barely get out of this.
It's dead.
No, the
That's
Apollo
so beautiful.
Actually,
Just barely took Nemesis down to low enough health for the tower to pick up the kill. The rotation's still coming out. Agni doing a lot of damage right now.
So they do get the blue buff off that one, as well as 2 kills for 1.
And they got the red buff.
Yeah, and they could potentially go for Gold Fury here. If they come in, they can fight them. I feel strong enough in the situation to go for this. I wouldn't be scared, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we see
Didn't give aggro right. Anher tried to zone there, and it should have been the Agni that zoned.
Right.
Anher should have been tanking, and Sylvanas should have been second pressure.
Yes. They unfortunately Sylvanas I think was a little too afraid to tank that up and man up against the Athena with the taunt.
Yeah, I mean, he tanked it up for the most part, and it was like, look, guys, I can't tank this anymore.
Right.
But nobody took aggro, so they had to reset. It was, I guess, in a weird way, it was a wise decision, because Thor was back online again, and with Ultimate, he could have come in and caused havoc, and would have caused a problem.
Now I didn't see it in the last fight. Did the Thor get picked off before being able to use his ultimate? He did, right? Because he ran.
He did.
Ran
he
to the
couldn't.
tower
He
and-
really couldn't get his ultimate off because he would have. The second he charged it, I think they would have been able to burst him. He was spinning to win during the Sylvanas ult and didn't get knocked up. And then he just tried to run out, but
So
his
here's
hammer was
here's
down.
something that's pretty risky. Look at the positioning coming out from red team. They're on the left side of the map. Nemesis is looking for that speed
I
buff
love
and
that
looking
ward.
for this yeah, I love it too. Looking for the solo gank. Thor just landed in mid lane, not really sure.
No, he ulted trying to get the on her, but this ward spotted him out, so the on her smartly just immediately backed off.
Very,
really wise.
Very good wards coming out from both teams, actually. We see the
One thing-
very aggressive wards coming out from blue team, looking to control the enemy jungle, and at the same time, the red team just has, very standard wards, getting eyes almost everywhere on the map.
I mean, one thing to talk about in this, we're going to see Nemesis rotating right, but she's over a ward, so it's fine. We've got a few seconds to speak. But composure is one thing that is kind of difficult to... It's good to mention because this is a combine. It's a one-shot opportunity to show off your skills, maybe get spotted by a team for you to be picked up. But you're going to be trying to make plays all the time, aren't you? Because you want to show your skills. But if you try and overcommit and make too many plays, you're not going to play as well as you probably could do because you're probably going to be overly aggressive than you need to be. So composure is very important when it comes to a situation like this.
Yeah, I mean, the Baka is kind of showing that right now. He's showing no fear, and he's fighting this Thor and Osiris 2v1 right now and just really keeping the pressure on them, not allowing them to clear this
Buying
wave.
time.
It was
Nemesis
really
is getting
perfect.
speed.
Like the Nemesis was there. She could have ganked the soul lane, but it wasn't a guaranteed kill because Thor had so much mobility. Osiris also pretty tanky. Instead, the Baka just showed a lot of pressure in that soul lane and allowed Nemesis to just counter gank or counter jungle the speed away.
Yeah, it was nicely done by both those two because obviously Bakaso knew what was up. He put pressure on showing that Nemesis was still there when she wasn't, but it worked out really well. Bit of aggression in the duo lane. Nothing too much to write home about though, because it's standard poke that you expect to see. But Nemesis floating in the area of reward. We might see a team fighter on this blue buff now.
I do have to say that both teams have incredible rotations. That's kind of one of the... If you play ranked, that's one of the biggest problems is a lot of times people don't rotate properly. Like their lane will leave and they'll call it, but they don't rotate to counter it. And you see both teams doing a great job. They're looking to pick off this Apollo, but he gets under tower very quickly. And they wasted a lot on it. 2 bombs, Nemesis ult, and on her ult.
Yeah, even though they wasted all that stuff, they were still able to counter jungle. They're controlling the enemy jungle so well on the blue team, and they're really denying a lot of XP and gold.
Agreed. The one thing about that is the red team Apollo was the one that had to initiate that fight to try and defend his buff himself. In doing so, he got a lot of focus, got taken out the fight, which meant red team couldn't continue. They lost one of the damage dealers. It should have been Athena or Thor to try and engage that to defend if they were going to. And that was a bit of a miscommunication, I feel.
Yeah, another thing too is with that pressure applied, they were able to grab both mid camps, which control. Actually, they didn't
Only
kill
right
one
so far.
on accident.
No,
Mistakes happen.
it looks
Go
like
bomb
they
from
might
Magni
be
mid.
able to find a pick. Good beads by Thor though will avoid the root pull combo that is Sylvanas.
Yeah, just looking over the supports now. Sylvanas has a 1-level lead over the Athena. Both have Midas boots online. Nothing unusual in terms of their itemization right now. But it shows that Sylvanas is doing good work to get ahead of this Athena. Obviously, the kills do help in terms of the assists, but not that much.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a slow bleed. They already have 4K in experience, 1,500 gold. So the gold's not too big. That's first blood, a couple more kills, and like 2 mid camps. But having that experience lead and the pressure around the map is what's incredibly strong.
I mean, I come from EU, and generally a lot of the EU mid laners will buy 2 wards at a time to cover it. And I'm just looking over wards placed by both teams at the moment, and Red are definitely dominating on the ward coverage. You can see right now on the screen just on the mini-map. But when you look through the actual charts of wards placed, you can see it's generally Red that are warding. Only Sylvanas and Nemesis seem to be picking up wards for their team, which is going to cause them issues.
Do you think this vision control is going to be enough, though? I mean, we see a lot of damage coming out from blue team, and they really haven't been able to do anything with that vision. They're getting picked still. They're not really controlling their jungle, and it's not going in their favor right now.
It's the right response from Red, though, I feel.
Yeah.
In fairness. The right response from Red, they're behind. They need to ward heavier to make sure they stop getting ganked. It is a gold sink by buying this many wards, but it gives them a chance to get back into it.
Yeah, you know, if you look over at the solo lane, we're going to see Baka getting incredibly aggressive onto this Osiris. And Hindu, what do you think it's really going to take to break this game open right now?
It's going to come down to the Gold Fury. I think there'll be a fight around the Gold Fury based off someone getting picked. That's what will probably happen.
Well,
I
speaking
expect
of a pick,
that
there's a pick right there in the solo lane.
This could be it, because now Bak is going to go for the right tower. Thor might have to rotate over to defend, and that could be an instigation for the support, so for the blue team to go for that Gold Fury. They're not, though, but they're going to get a tower for free.
Yeah, the pressure this Bak is putting on is going to allow this Nemesis to set up for another counter jungle on the Thor's speed.
Oh, a lot of damage coming out in mid, too, onto the Ra. There's really not a lot of follow-up there, but Nem's in between 3 people. She's going to be able to find another pick there. And again, they have the ward coverage on Gold Fury, but they didn't really have any on the right side of the map.
Yeah, Red trying to turn this one around after losing a free kill on the right. The whole team of blue, though, collapsing round the back. I don't understand this decision maker. They were all looking for speed, I'm guessing. They've got all 5 together. Thor and Athena need to be careful.
Yeah, Apollo's up in the air. Oh no, the AoE damage is just too much, and it's looking like they're both going to go down here. Baka has a leap, and there's really not much they can do about that one. They're going to lose this speed buff.
Yeah, this is kind of the result of just the pressure they're having in every lane and the jungle. The Agni went pretty even most of the game, but there at the end he was able to basically solo the Raw. The Raw did get away, but the Nemesis, because of the positioning she had, because Baka had so much pressure on solo lane, was able to pick off the Raw as he kind of tried to back away.
I mean, this whole game stems from that first gank we saw from Thor on the left-hand lane, in all honesty. They got the first pick on Sylvanas, it gave Red Team the lead, but can they defend the Gold Fury? It's a great stun from Agni.
Wow.
Great stun from Agni that actually saved the Gold Fury from Athena getting any chance to steal it. This could be a potential for Blue Team to get back into this. We'll see, though.
They have to commit to this fight hard, but the problem is no one peeled for the Raw in the back. The Raw was just getting auto-attacked by a Nemesis, and you see how low that Nemesis is because she got hit by the Thor ult. She's going to go down, but Red really needed to peel for their team there. It looks like they're going to get away with this, though.
Take a look at the solo lane right now, too. We see Baka just split pushing. This is going to be a lot of gold going into Blue Team's favor again. Even though they took this fight, it's still going to be a loss, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, they lost Gold Fury.
Same as a Gold Fury. Remember that all the time. So it's like technically 2 Gold Furies they got them in that situation.
Yeah, and it not only is it going to be the Gold Fury in the tower, but again, it comes back down to that map control. We see the ward controls start to lean into Blue Team's favor as they have more and more gold to spend. They really are just putting wards everywhere, and
so
it's going to be really hard.
That Athena just killed herself, unfortunately. She walked back in to get the blue. You countered it. You don't need the blue on Athena at all. You don't need it at all for your death.
Yeah. You white the blue, but set herself up for the Agni kill, and that's going to be that. 12-5 though in this one. 9.5 experience, 5,500 gold lead. Sorry, I should say. It's in Blue Team's favor. I feel Red Team after the fight the Gold Fury and giving up the tier 2 tower, right? They should have looked for towers. They shouldn't have just hovered around.
Agree.
They felt like they hovered too much. They could have got the tier 1 on the left side. That should have been down. But I don't think they really made the right decisions there.
They definitely needed at least something outside of a blue buff for a kill. They should have gone for a tower somewhere. There wasn't any jungle to counter, so that was probably the right call. Unfortunately, they didn't make it.
I like the decision from blue team here to try and siege mid a little bit. They realize Agni's very, very strong in this 3-level lead over Ra now. So push in on this middle lane, leave Anhurst 1v1 against Apollo. That's fine because he's got a lead as well. And Back is doing a fine job against this Osiris 2-level lead there as well. So good decision maker from the blue team on where they're going to choosing to go. I'm just interested what Sylvanas is up to now because I don't think he needs to be here.
Yeah, you know, I'm really impressed by this Nemesis player. You know, she's had these great rotations, just again, great jungle awareness, and you gotta give it to her. She's just been playing phenomenal.
Good ultimate straight away onto that Nemesis, helping to secure the kills. Good call from her. They clearly went for the gank and used comms very well. They should get tier 2 to on left. Apollo can't defend that, and if he stays, Nemesis could come in again.
Yeah, this Apollo needs to be careful. He needs to give this up when the wave comes because there's no way he's going to defend this against the Nemesis on her and Sylvanas.
Look at the pressure coming out in mid lane too. You know, we see the tower dive coming out with the damage from Agni and Baka. Baka with that Smithy's hammer, he's just able to tank this too. I mean, maybe he has an idea here with the Smithy's hammer just being able to dive things like that.
They just need to get out blue team in mid lane here. I don't think they should be fighting this one anymore. Good stuff from Agni again. They just need to leave.
That Agni almost killed himself, and he's still in a bad spot. Oh, he's probably going to die here from... Yeah, he was backpedaling way too much. There's many times where if he had just walked forward, he would have been fine, but blue team with a nice rotation saw that their team was getting dove, came to defend the tower, look for a pick, and they're just going to push him off. They're going to lose 1 kill, but save the tower.
Yeah, they saved the tower for now, but this fight's spiraling out of control. This is a bad fight for blue team to take. They didn't need to. They may clean it up and get out of it,
great
but...
pull.
I don't think necessarily this was the right idea. This is communication from a team that should be focusing on different things. Like, the plan was to get the tier 1 tower left. Instead, they lost 2 kills mid for free. Shouldn't have happened.
Oh, unfortunately, Nem missed an auto attack there.
Yeah. On her coming around the back, though. And then there's nowhere for this Apollo to go. His abilities are down. He's just going to fall. Like, at this point, Red team is so far behind, they really need blue team to mess up. I mean, the level... Look at the levels. That Baka is huge compared to their team. They cannot fight him, especially with that Smithy's hammer.
Yeah, he has a lot of damage online right now. He's got a lot of physical protection, actually, with that Witchblade and Smithy's hammer. He's got quite a bit of health. He's got the debuff. They're actually going to start Fire Giant here.
I'm not a fan of this call. They're so far ahead. This call is how you throw games. They're not really ahead. They have Thor, they have Osiris, yeah.
Big Thor going to land onto 4 people here.
This is the turnaround.
Uh-oh.
They need to get these kills. They have to kill 2. They need to kill the Baka here. The Osiris needs to not chase on her. He needs to go on Bakasura. Yeah, if he stayed on Baka and slowed the Baka probably wouldn't have been able to get away.
You know, they have the Ra heal. They put it down under tower. That might come back to haunt them a little bit if this Nemesis is able to get into this Fire Giant pit.
No,
and,
this was huge mistakes from blue team. What they did wrong here, they didn't ward coverage correctly if they wanted to go for this, and they didn't have anyone on zoning duty. We discussed zoning duty in the last game we looked at. Someone should always be zoning. In this case, it's probably Agni or Baka.
They don't have the damage for this.
Agni or Baka, it should be.
Red team does not have the damage for this, and that the Raw is just tanking Fire Giant right now and doesn't realize it. Almost dies.
Once again, no one's zoning.
Yeah.
If they had someone zoning just in case someone was coming, they could have protected this situation. Now they're going to get turned on again.
You know, I don't think it was so much as zoning there. I think you just need to drop the Fire Giant and kill the Nemesis that is really controlling this game right now.
Yeah.
Agreed. But if you had someone on zoning duty, Nemesis could have been poked already.
Yeah.
You'd see her coming and you'd know to turn on her immediately. Zoning is so important around the buffs, and you know the pro teams know that. You'll notice in their games, there's always someone on zoning duty. When there isn't, that's when mistakes happen.
Yeah, and in some situations it would be okay, considering the Nemesis doesn't really have Hog 3. But the fact that they're behind already, and they only have 4 for the Fire Giant, like they did not have the damage to do that contested. They needed the zone there for sure.
Well, that whole situation bought red team a little bit of time. If blue team makes the same mistake again, red team can still get back into this game. Talking about the decision making from the teams, I mean, who's really standing out for you guys at the moment?
For the blue team?
For both teams, I mean,
for both teams. Well, you know, we've seen Osiris, you know, sort of been able to deal with this Baka, and to that you got to give him credit. He's been pushed under tower the entire game. They really haven't tried to deal with the Baka too much, and he only gave up that 1 early kill.
Yeah.
and he's still been able to, you know, do his duty in team fights.
Yeah, considering, I mean, he's actually he's pretty much even with the Baka, considering the towers and the Gold Fury's taken. He might even be ahead. I mean, they've lost 3 tier 1s, a tier 2, and a Gold Fury, and the Baka's only 1k and just hit 2 levels ahead.
Right. And then when you look at the blue team, players you need to highlight, I think, again, it's going to be the Baka. He's going on the right characters at the right time. You have Nemesis, great rotations, and then you have Agni. That's really their whole team is playing amazingly. They seem to be like synergizing very well together, and the CC chains coming out, the pulls coming out. I mean, look at the Anhur. He impaled the Apollo that was being Athena ulted away from the Gold Fury, allowing them to freely hog that.
Yeah, I'm actually really. He's only 4-1-9 and he hasn't really done much, but this Anhur has been controlling this lane, and his decision making in team fights has been incredible. I'd say the Anhur, outside of the obvious Nemesis Baka, who are really dominating the map, I think the Anhur did an amazing job as well.
For me on the red team, in fairness, I'm going to call out Hell Dodo on this Apollo. He's 3v3 in a very 3v3 in a very negative game for his team.
Yep.
But his decisions, he knows when he should be contesting. Like the Gold Fury, he was there, he knew it was being done. He tried to get involved to the best of his ability. But when he does get caught, he's not bad at getting himself out of a bad spot. He's kept himself even. And then Thor as well, like Rudos. After the start of the game, he did a very good gank. He went negative. He was behind this Nemesis the whole game, but yet he is still even and making a good contribution to his team, even though he's behind still at level 16.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it for this game. I think let's just fast forward, see if there's anything else, and then we'll take a look at a different game.
This is what generally happens though at these stages of the game. You know it's probably going to go in blue team's favor.
Yeah.
But you can see from what's gone in the game, the players that have really made an impact, at least from the viewing standpoint. Always take into account, guys, when you watch these games, some of the people are probably better than they seem in some circumstances, or they've done stuff and you've not even realized it.
Everyone has bad games, everyone has good games. We're just trying to highlight...
Scouts,
yeah.
The scouts will notice that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually feel, honestly, I feel Rudos and Hell Dodo there were probably my favourites on red team to be looked at from the scouts. I would like to see the scout reports after out of interest on that one. So we're sat here right now just waiting for this one to go down. We're going to be looking at the next game soon. For me, like I said, Hell Dodo and Rudos from the red team. From the blue team side of things, Bursto on that Nemesis played very, very well. Well played on the Bakasura. I like his decision in lane in terms of fighting. I'm not 100% certain on his item build. I'm still not a personal fan of Runeforge Hammer. But he went Witchblade as well, which is what I would have called for first. But it combines so well. He did well against the Osiris matchup, which is a 5-5 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
He kept the pressure on. He realised the opportunity in right lane to go for the tier 2. And he's abusing his situation pretty well for his team. He seems to get in and get out when he needs to. And that's what's led to his 5-0-2 scoreline.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of games to go through. I think we've highlighted what we wanted from these players. So we're going to throw it to a quick break, and we're going to get right back into our next game. So thank you, Hindu Man. We'll see you in a moment.
Welcome on, boys and girls. We're live once again. This is Blue Team versus Red Team, or Team Raw versus Team Members and Card, but it doesn't really matter. We're watching once again the combine of some more players. This one was scouted out by a couple of different scouts, and everyone's going to be constantly scouting out all these teams and giving feedback on them. We're into this game right now, and as you can see, we're going to be seeing Small Mail, Soup Kitchen, Zoth, Kazmoy, and Mr. Llama, Raven, Dust, Panda Puncher, Easy Joe, and Assailant. So, let's have a look at how they start out the game.
Yeah, and as we're watching this...
Did he just...
What happened?
Anhur just popped health potion.
Ooh, rip. I've done that.
I hate
That's
when that
unfortunate.
I've done that a million... Yeah, there it is, ticking. I've done that a million times. You get so mad? It'll be fine. He's got Death Soul. Before we get into this, though, or as we watch the beginning, I do recognize some of these players from North American Ranked. Dust plays with Brandon a lot of his casual tournaments. Panda Puncher is, I believe, a Diamond 2 player. He's very strong. Plays in a lot of the Smite Central tournaments. Does very well all the time. Same with Assailant. He's also Diamond 2, I believe, or Diamond 1. Plays with Panda Puncher in a lot of these casual tournaments. I expect big things from them.
I recognize a lot of these names too. For me to recognize them says a lot because it means I've seen them around before in some sort of instances, especially considering I don't play in North America that much. So we'll be interested to see. Dusty's going to go for some aggression at level 1 here.
Yeah, that's great.
Force a hog.
He forced the hog. He does what I can't even think Divios does all the time now, forcing the hog in mid. But I don't know if it's going to work considering they have a Baka.
Well, they've got Hog as well. Baka's got Hog as well, so it's not really going to make that much of a difference. Nemesis had Hog, Baka had Hog, nothing changed.
Yeah.
Realistically, Nemesis should have been doing red buff there, technically, to get more experience out quicker with the double Hogs they've got, but it also means they're not going to have Hog for lane now.
Yeah, typically what you see happen is if you force the hog there, you don't do your own blue, you go and contest the blue. That's kind of the point of forcing their hog there, is that you can contest the blue without problem.
Well, fast rotations from both the junglers this time round. Normally, up to 1 minute 30 is the sort of maximum leaving time you'll see out of a jungler at the solo lane. They're both going to rotate for mid experience, which is semi-seen most of the time now from pro players.
Yeah. The Isis here is definitely going to have the advantage in this mid lane early on, though. Isis just incredibly strong.
Taking a look at the duo lane, we saw beautiful body blocks coming out from the Geb to really just take control of that lane, and we saw a lot of pressure coming.
Yeah,
right
Kali's probably going to get first blood here. There's really no reason she should. Oh, good job by Mayo, but the jump not available. You see the Assailant rotate as well. That's really bad. Giving that Kali first blood, that's going to get her kins on faster. There's really nowhere for the Geb to go, and also, if you kind of want to take a look at last game. Last game, the same thing happened, except everyone on red team, or excuse me, blue team rotated.
Well, they went red.
This time, yeah. Wait,
those two are at the red buff.
Too many colors.
There was no comms call. There was no comms call from blue team to say that the Giannis was missing. They had a ward coverage at that side as well, where you can see that they could see that was being done. The rotation from Giannis was coming, and obviously Kali either had to go over that ward, or she had to walk through mid lane where there was minions to spot them out on the rotation. So this was not good communication from blue team at all.
Yeah, looking at the red team though. Just take note of the gods they have. These are all gods that are incredibly scary to get ahead on early game. We have the Hercules that, will turn into that raid boss that you cannot take down. You have the Kali who's just going to shred through your whole team. You have the Apollo that could do the same thing and just shred through everybody, and the Giannis that could just drop portals everywhere and really cause havoc in team fights.
Well, we're going to come up to about 40 seconds off the first mid-camp rotations right now, but with that advantage to the red team as well. I'm interested to see what Kali goes for in terms of build. Will she go for standard chins, or will we see something else out of her? Because with that lead that she's got, that first kill is really going to accelerate her build a little bit more than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, she's going to have Boots 2 online, which is going to give her a slight advantage over the Nemesis. Great stun coming out from Cosmo, hitting 2. That's actually really important right there. You're going to poke Panda Puncher out to half before the mid-camps.
Right here, we're going to see the mid-camp fight happen. Kali's not really sure what he wants to do here. He's like, all right, should we go right, should we go left? And they'll just end up trading at the end of the day.
Yeah, with Kali's ult isn't very good at mid-camp fights. The idea is you go and do a lot of damage, immune your death, and then try and heal yourself back up with your passive. But for mid-camps, it's not like she's doing more damage, where the Nemesis is going to reduce protections and slow someone, and the Isis is going to blow them up.
I don't understand why red team didn't fight at those left camps, because the team that generally has the lead at the start should contest those left camps and be the ones to take them. Geb was only level 3 there. Obviously Isis and Nemesis were both level 5, but you had 2 level 5s in terms of Kali with her ultimate available and Giannis online and Athena at level 4. It would have been a good opportunity there for red team to fight, in all fairness, because Geb didn't have that ultimate.
Yeah, Geb was a little weaker, but the Isis was definitely going to be stronger than the Kali and the Giannis there at those mid-camps. Her ult was available, and in such a tightly contested area, I think the Isis brought a lot more than the Kali and the Giannis combined. And in addition, you had the Nemesis ult available.
I like the wall coverage coming out from Hercules over on the right-hand side. That's also helped by Kali as well. They're making sure this lane is totally safe for Dust to continue farming in. There's going to be no rotations from Nemesis. And that's one of the things that Nemesis has an opportunity of in this game. She can deal with Hercules very, very effectively by destroying his protections.
Very hard counter.
But it's going to be up to Hercules to make sure he builds correctly in this matchup as well. Because in this matchup, he doesn't want to build full defense just to make sure he doesn't lose too many stats.
Yeah, like, he's going to be able to poke up the Baka, but with the Baka's heal, he should be fine if the Hercules only builds defense.
But no, the thing about the defenses is he shouldn't be building full defense because he gets back a Sora, and that's true damage anyway. So
true.
the defenses don't work as effective.
That's true.
And if he builds defense as well, he's against a Nemesis who's going to steal them. So he should be looking for a more damage-orientated build. We'll see if he goes for it. I'm fine with the Runeforge at the start because he's against physical solo, physical jungle.
Runeforge is just OP. Let's break it down. Runeforge
Oh,
is
he's
incredible.
very, very strong.
Yeah.
Very, very strong and very wise to pick up against a double physical, like physical solo, physical jungle. So that's not surprising. I'll be interested to see how the rest of his build develops, though.
Yeah, so right now, Kali and Nemesis kind of are in the same build where their early game isn't strong compared to like Serket and Thor and all these really strong early junglers, but they do enough. And if they get ahead early and get their items, it could be incredibly powerful. Dust is actually in a lot of problem. That was a great... I don't know if he'll pick up this kill. He doesn't have any movement ability for one more second. Oh, just barely got it off. I don't know if he's going to be able to survive, though.
He is. The jumps down. Butcher Blazer online, but...
Oh, that was
dives.
a bad move by Baka. With the heal going, yeah, he's going to be in trouble. He should be able to get out. Meanwhile, though, we did see Giannis pick up a kill. They dove under the Baka. The Baka really was not map aware there. Probably could have rotated out. I think he was just... I think he smelled blood, honestly.
Panda Puncher finds his target too. That's unfortunate for the Baka there. Really overextended, kind of got a little greedy, and then paid for it with his life.
Lama was trying to secure the kill more than anything. Like he did all the hard work of getting Dust so low, get him in a bad position. His ultimate was fantastic against the wall. He positioned it perfectly. Dust just did the right thing. He tried to live, and he made the decision at the correct time.
This is a smart call. I don't think they're going to get away with it, but this is the right call. Everyone hard rotated onto right lane. This means Blue has a almost uncontested Gold Fury, but Easy Joe doing a good job of making sure Nemesis stays low, and they're focusing so much on him that Assailant's just going to come in and clean up.
Okay, so that's going to be a cleanup for Blue Team once again. Will Apollo get away? He will, just by the skin of his teeth. But it looks like Isis could die here. One taunt. Oh, he chose to use Paul. I would not have chose Paul there. I would have gone for the unstable. It would have been confirmed with the taunt, and she probably would have died. But it's 6-0 to Red Team now. What happened there was the decision from Blue Team to go for the Gold Fury because of the rotation right was good, but it was very, very late, the call. The call should have been a lot earlier. They should have done that very, very quickly when the whole engagement in right was happening. Instead, they left it too late, and the whole Red Team could collapse back on.
Yeah, and Assailant did a great job of rotating over and recognizing that. In addition, while that was going on, they did take the tier 1 in right. That should just stalemate this lane anymore, because I don't think Herc really has super hard push potential on it. And like you said earlier, the Nemesis is a hard counter to him, so if he's pushing out of position, it's not like typically where he could tank damage if hard rotations come. He could easily die.
Well, it's all going to be about the Gold Fury next. At the moment, you can see both teams going to be eyeing it up for the most part. It's definitely all in Red Team's favour this game so far. But what can we see out of the rest of the team coming out? Well, as it stands right now, I mean, Salt Mail's not had the best start to the lane for himself. He's currently 0-2 in this lane. He popped the health potion at the start, which is really unfortunate. I can't help but point that one out because I hate when that happens. But I feel mean because it's a combine and I'm like, he popped his health potion. But yeah,
everyone does it.
They happen. It happens to the best of us.
I've seen it in SPL games.
That is the
Yo,
worst.
this Isis though. Like, she's doing good combos onto Giannis in mid, but she's just not getting any follow-up or anything else that she can really do.
She's 2 levels behind, which is bad. Assailant's picked up 4 kills, so he's in a really good spot. Forced Athena ult to the left, which is, he didn't really know. The Athena probably couldn't tell if the Apollo could have got bursted. He easily could have got stun comboed, so good ult, and that's actually going to be a pretty big advantage for Blue Team if they can utilize the fact that the Athena ult is down.
Yeah, and they're trying to do that right now. They try to get the vision control on this Gold Fury here. They're ready to try to make a play around this, knowing the Athena ult is down now.
Geb's dead. I can see it coming already.
Yeah, there's nowhere for him to go.
His team kind of left him. Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily his team leaving him.
Right,
He should have been communicating that himself as well, that he needs help to go and do that. In doing that, this should be a Gold Fury, but no one's
I don't know.
zoning.
The Isis ult here is going to be really important. Kind of want to slow this down. They do pick him out.
Blue Team clearing this up out. It's got to be. But Panda's making really good work onto the Isis to make him pay, but the good rotation from Bakasura there.
Pillar.
He probably should have switched off back to the. He should have switched off back to the Apollo. He should still get it. Wins his 2. Yeah, his 2's up. He's still going to get that kill. So that was actually a really nice turnaround for blue team. Considering they're down 8-2 kills and a tower, they're really not that far behind. Only 4K experience, 2K gold at 10 minutes. I mean, when you feel like red teams had the pressure all game, I kind of figured that they'd be further ahead.
I think that fight was so strange. I mean, they picked Zoff. Red team picked Zoff. Zoff should have communicated that a little bit better in terms of he needed to go in and ward. His team should have stuck with him. They both should have realised that individually. Zoff should be communicating that better to say, guys, I need support. And the rest of the team should be noticing it anyway. He shouldn't necessarily have to communicate it. His team should realise it needs to happen. But then the decision for Red team, once again, zone control. Like I said around the Gold Fury, nobody was on zone duty. And so Isis managed to just creep around the back, force the fight, and turn that fight for blue team and defend the Gold Fury. So nicely done from Isis, though. She realised the threat and she neutralised it.
Yeah, I think the Ice is actually playing pretty good this game. It's not as easy to hit these spirit balls that she's hitting, and she seems to be connecting most of them on important targets too, at pretty long range.
Oh, back is in tower range at the moment. No, nothing much going to come from
Yeah,
that.
I don't.
Big skirmish in mid though once again. Looking for the mid camps, but they're currently down. Good spirit ball once again from Kazmoy. And we're kind of waiting to see what's next on the list, really, from these two teams. Because at the moment, Red Team are in control, but it's still anyone's game right now.
So, you know, while we're waiting for this next Gold Fury fight to kind of break out, why don't we take a look at what some of these players are building? You know, in the mid lane, we see the CDR boots coming out in what looks to be... Wow, I'm completely drawing a blank for names.
Dust is in trouble
yes.
over here.
Yeah,
But
nice driving strike and the Athena ult. They actually might turn
Don't
this
agree with his
around.
ultimate.
He survived just enough. We see Assailant come out with the ult there, the Giannis ult. Bak is going to get picked up, and Assailant falls through his own portal.
Dust played that well, but he could have played it better. If he didn't
gone
use
for
his
the Gold
ultimate and
Fury.
just walked in with the Athena, he would have got the kill with that and had the boulder to follow it up. It would have been better for him. They're still going to get both kills, though, but it could have been good.
Yeah, they're committing really hard in this Nemesis, but meanwhile, we see blue
good
team
drop.
on the Gold Fury. It doesn't look like they have Hog. They did get it, but this may be one of the very rare instances where it's not worth it because they're going to lose 4 players overall. Or excuse me, 3 players overall.
You know,
Mayo just barely escaping.
How did that Nemesis get out?
I have no. I think they realized that they had to go contest the Gold Fury.
Yeah.
They spent way too long. They shouldn't have fought her to begin with, and they did. And then they realized their mistake, swapped over, but they were still a little bit too late. So I would
That was
say
a brilliant play by Nemesis.
Yeah, if they get
was
this
2
tower,
plays.
this is probably
Yeah.
even.
That was beautiful shot calling from everybody on the blue team right there.
Well, they're all grouping up on left side. I don't know why they've got Hercules coming here too. They don't really need him. And if Bakasura continues pushing, he should get tier 1 on that side. So Dust doesn't really need to be here right now, in fairness. He should be across the other side of the map. There's no reason for 4 members here. You don't want to be grouping for just... That's 100 gold, you know?
I think his plan is he's going to buy teleport anyway, so he's going to back and probably teleport to this tower.
If he gets
to save
teleport,
it.
he wouldn't need
he
to. He
got
just
beats
went
3.
there, you know?
Oh, he got beads 3. Okay. You don't really see too many Hercules buy beads 3. They don't really need to immune the stuns because they can survive for so long to begin with, depending on your build. I'm assuming he's going to build mostly tanky.
We all know beads are good. That's why they're taking a nerf
Yeah,
right
beads
now.
are OP. I'm not going to lie. If he can get that driving strike off.
Nemesis in a bit of trouble. She was looking at that speed buff there, and then, you know, she ran into 3 people on the red team.
She needs to. She keeps turning around to get vision, but she needs to be careful there because that will slow her down.
But that 4-man rotation now, if you just to clear that out, the 4-man rotated for the left-hand tower, and in doing so, Baka got left alone, and he equaled out that gold from those 2 towers immediately.
Right.
So it was a pointless rotation from the team. Red should have really thought about that a little bit better. I'm going to blame that one on Dust, in fairness. He should have realized that.
Yeah. Panda Puncher will pick up Soup Kitchen, and that was his target. So he has a new target now. We're not sure who it is. This Isis is playing very well, but wasn't able to save the Nemesis there. Dustin a lot of... Ooh, he interrupted the dash. That was really well.
The beads.
The beads.
Saved the day.
The bead saved him.
Herc with that low health throwing out a boulder, getting a lot of damage out, wasn't really... It was enough to deter them from that tower.
And I think that's the important part,
Right.
was throwing that... It looks like we have a dive on left, but Mayo's just going to back out, and that's kind of a wasted Apollo ult.
Yeah, I think he was in that position that he already wanted to back anyways, so he didn't really gain too much out of that. And Anher didn't even back because the Gebros hit it over, so...
He's just trying to protect the blue. And there's no way this Apollo... There shouldn't be a reason for this Apollo to steal this blue. Mayo's not that far behind this Apollo.
Panda Puncher as well. I'm going to quick look at his itemization. He's gone for Execution, and it looks like he's going for Witchblade next. Obviously,
That's
he's going for
interesting
Witchblade
itemization.
because too. I like that itemization. I don't think you necessarily have to have Chins. We all know Chins is a great item, but I think Execution is fine with Witchblade as well.
I think the reasoning is he's so far ahead early. He just wants to he got that Executioner online to deal with a lot of things, and I think that's actually pushed him even further ahead. I think that was his reasoning, was Executioner's 2200, Kins are 3200. Might as well go Executioner since I can full buy it now and be useful now instead of waiting.
So, guys,
Exactly.
we have the scout, DM Brandon, that was in this game, and we're going to go ahead and, get his opinion and see what these players were really all about in the Mumble server.
Hey DM, we're at 15 minutes now. We've had a look over the first 15 minutes of the game. Give us your thoughts on this game and personally on the individuals involved.
So we're talking about the game with Dust and Panda Puncher, right?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so me and Kabam, we're doing scouting together today. We have a little bit of help. We're doing like a communal thing, and right out of the gate, Kabam says Panda Puncher's going to do his level 2 invade. And I said this time he's going to go all the way to duo. So a little bit predictable. I mean, he does it. It works out because no one expects it because they don't ward. I mean, it's bad warding in the beginning coming out. But honestly, Panda Puncher played it very well. He's extremely quick on the rotations, very smart about his usage of his abilities, talking about stun and his 2, albeit his ult usage is pretty poor. Dust completely controls the early game with the Hand of the Gods, walking in, make sure they force the hand usage on the mid camps, then gets the double camp to control duo lane. It was just incredible pressure coming out. So I really like Panda and Dust this game. Small Mayo does a great job considering I think Zoff was likely the weakest player in the game. And then I think the biggest negatives for me, Soup Kitchen wasted the Nemesis ult every single time. There was one time where he used it where it was actually going to do something, but it was 5 seconds too late, and Hercules gets out anyway. It's pointless.
So
The standouts for you were like Dust and Panda Puncher. Any others to name?
Small Mayo honestly did a great job considering what he had to deal with in lane. Granted, he was on her and he did get outboxed once. He was still a much better player overall. And then Assailant did beautifully in mid lane. I mean, I don't think he did anything too crazy to the point where I was like jumping out of my chair, but he didn't really have any misplays either. It was just quintessential front to back textbook play.
Well, we're like 16 minutes in the game right now, and like talking about him at this moment in the game, he was 5-0 and 7 with. Honestly, his player damage wasn't that high, but it means his positioning's good. He's getting the kills, he's in the right spots, and he's not getting himself picked. With that full cooldown build that we've seen from Nor before.
Yeah, Purified was pretty mad to see that come out early. I actually stated that I like it. I like Nas build the best.
I think it works, considering
I
they
do
had
too.
Considering they had damage elsewhere, especially with that Kali building, not Kins, but got like a couple early kills and just went for Executioner so she could be online faster.
I'm so. I mean, you've got mainly physical on your team. You're the only real magical damage dealer. Cooldown's cool and all if you've got another magical, but I mean, it's worked out for him. I'm not trying to put it wrong. I don't think he's a bad builder at all, but maybe more pen would have been more useful for him because he's the only magical.
That or
for his
maybe
team.
Dust should have gone Mystical Mail for extra damage.
You know,
That could've
speaking
been
of
true.
Dust, we see him pick up Beats 3. What are your thoughts on that? I know you were in
yeah.
TeamSpeak with him.
Oh yeah.
Well,
no, I was not in
decision?
TeamSpeak with him. I completely segregated myself. I wasn't giving
Okay.
him any advice. I have cited him multiple times for buying Hand Teleport. I think Hand Teleport is the scrubbiest thing in the game, and that people are getting away with it for no reason. The beads was the correct picked up. I love the way that he played it. The beads were used effectively, especially considering that there was a Nemesis. Given the fact that there was a Nemesis and he was able to use the beads to get out of the slow and reposition himself and then heal him back up through mitigate wounds, allowed him to reinitiate and stay in the fight longer. The teleport, he didn't need. He was already out rotating every single time.
He did
the
make
lead
one
dictated
error
that.
though. I do think he made one error when he went to that tier 1 tower left. He should have been on the right
Oh yeah.
side.
Oh, I was screaming about that.
Yeah, that's my
Screaming.
biggest thing. What, out of interest, we're only 18 minutes in and he's working towards either Curse Blade or Wing Blade here. What does he go for if you've seen this whole game? I don't think we'll spend too much time
What do
on
you
it.
think it should be?
He should be Wing because he should not be building more protections. So
And he learned from the best. Wingblade it is.
good to hear. That's the main thing because obviously Nemesis is a big issue for him, and as he gets backer anyway, he should make
Precisely.
sure it's correctly. Room for should be enough. So yeah, I'm pleased he did that. That was one thing I was wanting to point out.
How do you feel about the ISIS player? Because I've been watching and she's been doing a great job of hitting pretty long range spirit balls. and
I
keeping
hit
players
him with the
booked
real
out.
stuff after the game, and I'll give you the same spiel. He plays it very well, especially considering with how far his team is. But if he's picking ISIS into that comp, that means it's his only god.
Did he pick it? We didn't watch picking phase. We have no idea.
It was a diamond god. He picked it like towards the end, like in the middle. Like it was just an awkward pick. There was no reason for it to happen, honestly. And you can definitely tell it. You can definitely tell that it's his best god. So he picks his best god, and it's a mid tier when the meta dictates that this should have been a Scylla pick. Nah, I'm not with it.
Think about that, Damien. It is a combine. It's a combine, and
You're
in a
kind
combine,
of going to want to pick
best.
some of your best gods.
Sure, but his
they're gonna
best
show
god
skill.
should be better.
Maybe in some circumstances, but then the weak sometimes rise. You know, that's the way I'm looking at it personally. I think you should play the best you've got.
The combine's purpose is to see who's ready for competitive play. And if my man's picking Isis into that comp, he's not ready for competitive play.
You know, I sort of agree with that. You want to be playing your strongest gods, but at the same time, you need to be doing what's best for your team.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is picking a Scylla does dictate that you have the team comp to set it up. I'd say this team doesn't. Outside of Geb, they don't really have the setup for a Scylla.
Nemesis with fist?
Nemesis
With fist? That's
You typically want a Thor or you want two really big AoE stuns. Typically like a Thor with a.
You need a way to kill Hercules, and Isis can't do it.
You got Gebel, you got Nemesis slows, and you've also got Bakasora cripple from his ultimate, which keeps them all in place for the Ammo monster.
That's true.
So there's potential there for a Scylla. I can understand DM's thinking on that one.
But I will mention the Wind Gusts were great, the Spirit Balls were good, the Sounds were
really
good.
good.
One Circular Protection was a little late. Otherwise, they're generally pretty good. But you can see that this is his god pool, and that doesn't impress me.
Basically, you'd like to see him on some more meta gods.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for joining us, DM.
Good luck.
We're going to cut you guys off, and we're going to get into another game here shortly. So we'll be back in just a moment.